In this lesson, I want to talk about creating an LFE, or a low frequency effects, or as it's more commonly referred to as a subchannel. Now, if you are following along, of course, after you watch this lesson, we are on timeline number 13. And what I did was I decided to strip things right down and make this very simple. And we're going to use an explosion sound effect to work with. It's going to sound a little bit like this. Very nice, something very common you hear all the time inside of those big budget Hollywood movies. You'll have an explosion, and that rumbling sound coming out of the sub is really what we want to create. Now, you'll remember a few lessons ago, I did mention how we're going to start doing this. And what I had mentioned was inside of our pan tool down here at the bottom is a feature called, appropriately enough, Boom, which to be honest really should have been called LFE just to make our lives so much easier, but we have Boom instead. All right, what I'm going to do is to simply turn Boom on. Now, if I move this window sort of out of the way a little bit, I still want to see all my channels over here on the right, and I come back to the beginning of this explosion. I hit the space bar. You'll notice I still only have that explosion on the left and right channels. The reason being is that I have not come in and adjusted its volume yet. What I'm going to do is just bring it right up here to 0. Now there's a bit of a problem with what I've actually done here. If I now come back and I hit play, you're going to notice that I still have the audio on the left and right channels, which is perfectly fine. However, you'll notice on the sub channel, which is channel 4, that the audio is going to be completely blown right out. You'll see it actually peaks right up there. It hits 0. This is not what we're looking for. Now, why is this not what we're looking for? Well, the problem is that we are using the entire frequency spectrum of this audio track for the subchannel right now. We haven't actually narrowed it down to be just those low frequency effects, or the LFE. So how do we go about actually doing that? Well, let me show you. What we're going to do is, once we've turned Boom on, and obviously this is adjustable based on your needs and how it actually sounds in your room, what we're going to do is navigate to the effects library, and I'm going to navigate right down here to the LFE filter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the LFE filter, and I'm just going to take it, I'm going to apply it right to the explosion track. Now this is actually not how you do this, but I want to show you what's going to happen when I take it and drag it and drop it on there. You will now see that there's no LFE channels, so processing is disabled. What's important to keep in mind about the track that the explosion is on is that it is a, in this case, stereo track, not a 5.1 track. There is actually no subchannel on it. So what I'm going to do is just delete the effect from there. We're going to come back. I'm going to apply it just to the output bus, which is a 5.1 channel. Now you'll notice that basically what this is it is a limiter. You'll see here's our frequency down here, and you'll see exactly where it gets cut off and what is not cut off, and we're basically in the low end of this effect. If I was to come back now and hit the space bar, take a look at what's now going to happen to the subchannel over here. You'll see it's not hitting the top of the meters as it was before, and what we can do is isolate those low frequency effects even further by adjusting the frequency and where it's going to cut off. So for example, if we cut it off right around 120 right here, and I now come back again, you'll see it's even lower and just rumbling through there right at the end. And keep in mind now, what you'll be doing is you'll be sort of isolating that frequency that you want to get in and have the LFE basically being featured in, as well as getting in here to the pan tool and adjusting the boom parameters to get that LFE channel sounding exactly the way that you want it to sound.